Hey Nerdchachos, we're back for episode 3 of Try Not to Suck at Airport CEO, so thank you for joining me today. We're looking good so far. We've got a profitable general aviation and a real ugly looking terminal that's servicing passengers from inside everywhere in the UK, so let's carry on our mission with trying not to run an airport into the ground. So here we are, here's what we did last time. We built some extra general aviation stands so that they can start to come in and expand. We also built this horrific looking terminal that is just functional. It just does what it needs to do. It's really not very good, but it's servicing passengers. It's making us some money. We also built this little staff room down at the bottom here, so we've got some administrators that are coming in to help us do some research. We've also hired some other staff, so we've got some executives that are helping us to automatically repair the runway. We've got another one that's automatically scheduling us some flights so that we don't have to worry about any of that. And we've got some research projects that are on the go. So where we left off, the extended commercial license was just being researched. And so we're going to need to wait for this. Now, the reason that I'm pushing for this one more than anything is because this unlocks those de-icing pads. And I know I keep obsessing about this, but there's a reason. When you build them, they're serious money spinners. So you kind of want to get there as quickly as possible without rushing everything else. So if you can stay afloat until you start getting the de-icing pads, then you're on to a winner that way. So for this episode, what we're going to do is we're going to look at expanding our researching capabilities even further so we can start speeding that up and making that a little bit better. We're also going to do a little bit of work around the terminal as well, so we'll build some extra gates, we'll get some extra money in, and again, we're just going to focus on it working more than it being pretty, and at the moment, we're literally being ruined by our passengers. They hate our terminal. The rating is 0% for everything that we're doing at the moment. So we will need to do some work on that eventually, but for now we're going to keep it really simple. Let's just get the money before we then remodel the airport. I think what we also need to do is to have a look at this general aviation. So now that we're starting to pack this out, we need to start thinking about how efficient this is working. We might need to build a second runway along here that allows just arrivals only or just departures only, so we can look at that. So the other thing we also might want to do as well is look at upgrading these once we've got some money coming in to better tarmac, so we can extend this out even further, expand it even further, and get some more aviation coming in. So without further ado, I think we should continue. So we've got, like I say, the research that's going on at the moment, so it's going quite slowly. We've got 5 people on it. We can get a maximum of 8. So I think the first thing we need to do is actually get more people in and get those built. So let's build some more desks for some people. Where are they? Staff in our ugly looking office that I don't think anybody in their right mind would want to work in, but that's fine. Let's build some more desks. The other thing I want to do as well is just to keep an eye on these planes and where they're coming from, because at the moment they should just be servicing only UK, so that's fine. So let's build another couple of stands, and the theme we had from episode 2 also comes into play here, in the sense that you don't want to overdo it too soon. You don't want to go too big, too hard straight away. So let's extend the terminal slightly. Let's get a couple of stands in. Let's get some more passengers coming in. We'll go from there. Right. Okay. So we're in a good position down here. We've still got some money, and we are making money, which is great. So let's go ahead and bring our construction workers back. And whilst we're waiting for them to do their thing, let's reattach our taxiway. Okay. So we're looking good down here for fuel. So we've just had a delivery there. Just had the delivery there. That's fine. whilst we're waiting, let's have a look at our staff and see how they're performing. So in here, our vehicles are all okay. We're going to start needing AVS gas, actually. Okay, let's turn on and turn on there. So we don't want general aviation to land there. Let's buy some more vehicles. So we need another one of those. No, another one of those and another one of those. I think. Let's just up that to 3, because we're gonna get better ones of these when we research them later anyway. So I don't want to be spending too much money on these up front straight away. Right. Okay. So we're gonna need some boarding desks. So let's build. I might just need to do our security zone first. Go. So we now need our boarding desk. On there. There. We need to build our door. So we can build. No, that's a window. Let's build one there and one there. No, let's build one there. Good. Okay. So the builders will now come along and start to build our gates. That should then schedule some extra flights, and then we just need to check that we've got enough actual staff. So we have got just about enough security officers. We're okay for passenger service agents. We might need some extra ones when we open these 2 new gates. We're okay for janitors, we're okay for our service technicians, and we're okay for ramp agents at the moment, so that's all good. Right, let's go ahead, connect our boarding gate to our new terminal. And they've now pinged across and said they're okay. So let's start accepting flights. Good, okay. So you can see we've now got extra flights, so there's quite a few coming from inside the UK. I wonder if we could get away with another one. Okay, let's see how that goes first. So let's just quickly double check on our research, because we said we wanted some extra people. So let's go ahead and hire some more administrators. So we'll go for 4 more. Then we're going to go ahead and put them onto research to speed that up. So I've got 1 left over, which is fine because I know that later on we're going to need some more researchers, so that's all good. Okay, so that's all coming along quite nicely. So let's make this terminal a little bit friendlier for people. How are we going to do that? Right, let's go ahead. Let's build some fleet. So just going to place a couple of gate fleets, just to give them something to sit on whilst they're waiting for flights. And we've got the builders that are still in, the contractors that are still in. It's fine. There we go. That at least means that these passengers that are hovering around, they've at least got somewhere to go. Good, okay. Let's just quickly check on the staff situation, whether we're still okay. Yep, we've got enough passenger service agents, security officers, etc. Great, okay. So up in general aviation, then we need to make a decision about what we're going to do here, because we're starting to get queues backing up. So whilst we're doing some planning, just going to get rid of the contractors, just so we're not wasting any money. Right, so what are we going to do? I think we need an extra runway. Yeah, okay, so let's do an extra runway that's going to take off in the same started landing. Remember back to episode 1 where we were originally planning this. I think we're going to go back to that plan. So let's build our entrance and exit there and there. So that means that we can have planes coming in on the right hand side and heading straight down here, and then when they're ready to take off they can come down the bottom, hit the de-icing pads when we've got them, and then take off. So that should in theory double our capacity for arrivals and departures. Now because of the way that the infrastructure is going to work, it might also want us to connect this top as well. Let's give it a go without. So let's bring back our builders. See how this goes. Right, so the builders are going to do their thing. Let's have a quick look at the research. So we're nearly halfway there. It takes a while. Let's also, whilst we're here, let's also build another 2 stands and see whether we can gain some extra flights. And I think 6 would be enough, because then we need to start planning the international part. But we can't do any of the international part until we've researched it, and we can't research it until we've done some of the other bigger projects. So we need to sort of do this in a staggered approach. So I think once we've opened these extra 2 stands, leaving us with 6 in total, I think then we start looking at the services we offer the passengers and start making those better, so that we don't start to annoy the airlines too much. So we place our secure zone, and then we place our doors. I know that the game does, or always used to, auto place doors when you connect boarding gates to it, but I've noticed since this alpha, the most recent one, it doesn't always work properly. So it's easier just to place the door and then your gate, or the other way around, place both. So we swap this to commercial, going to connect our taxiways to it and let those build. Go. Going to connect. Great. So we've now got 2 extra gates to schedule some extra flights on. So if we have a look at tomorrow, so it looks like 6 is going to be our optimum, which is great. And we're starting to run out of capacity now anyway, so that's fine. We can start looking at increasing the capacity. Good, that's a good place to be. We've got 6 operational gates, we've got flights that are coming in, we're servicing passengers, we're starting to make some money, which is a good place to be. So let's have a look at research. 60%. How are we doing for demand? So we're okay. Jet is okay. People are okay. Good, okay. So it's alright. It's looking alright. Let's go ahead and get rid of our contractors. We don't need those just yet. Fuel, we've just had a delivery. And then the general aviation we can now configure properly. Right, so let's connect that one up. There's going to be exit there, or entry there, exit that way. So now we should be able to schedule this to depart only on that one and arrive only on that one. So this is where we don't know if we've just broken the game. Depart. Arrival only. Departure only. Oh, it's not open. That's fine. Let's try again. So, arrival only. There we go. That's better. That's looking a bit better. So we've got a bit of disturbance before it'll settle out. So some of the planes that are already scheduled to leave on the right-hand runway will leave on the left, and then that will sort itself out. Good. Okay. So we've now doubled our capacity for arriving and departing flights. So as you can see there, rather than a queue, we've now got 1,000 coming in each time. So how are we doing for the rating? Are they still okay? So they're still okay, and they still don't really like the infrastructure that we've given them. So we can have a look at that. So I think the first thing that we can do that's relatively easy to do is just upgrade the foundations to taxiways. So it's quite expensive to do though, so we need to question whether we should and how much we do. So we're just going to do it. Why not? There we go. So we've just upgraded the taxiway. That should help us with the rating slightly. There we go. So we've just added 10% just by increasing the taxiway. I'm not going to do the stands just yet. They take $6,500 per one, and that's quite expensive for what we're trying to achieve. And we do need to still try and keep some money coming in. But this is looking good capacity wise, and the runways need upgrading as well, and that's very expensive. So that's something that we need to do later. Great. Okay, so let's have a look at our terminal. This is all still working fine. We're not getting any delays, which is good. I think what we might do is just bring a couple of extra service agents in. Let's get 3 of those in, only because then you can have simultaneous checking in and boarding. And how are we doing with scheduling our flights? So we're still okay. We've got enough. I think we would have been okay with 4 stands, maybe the 5th, but that's okay. We can do the research to get some extra flights. That's fine. So they can't leave the airport. Or is it getting fixed? Brilliant. Okay. Right. So the next thing I think we should look at is the way that our passengers are getting to and from the airport. So at the moment they can only get to us by bus, but we've got a load of other options as well. So to start with, we can do taxis, and we can do public parking lots. So we can earn some money from the parking. The taxis will just alleviate the bus stops, and then the buses themselves will start bringing people in. So the bigger the airport becomes, the more transport options you're going to need. And you know that we're starting to struggle down here because we've got people that are waiting at the bus stop. So let's go ahead and put another couple of bus stops in. And then I want to allow a bit of a pathway. So let's do that. Let's bring the road up. I reckon pathways, it's two there. So if I bring the road back down this way as well. It's 4, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. bring it across here, and then maybe we can put parking down here, like this, and then taxis on this side. This is probably a bit overkill actually. I don't think we need that many bus stops. Let's get rid of 2. But keep this. Great, okay. So we're also going to need a way that for these passengers to get over to the terminal, so we're going to need a crosswalk there. We're also going to need one there as well. Brilliant. Okay, let's bring our builders back. Get them to build that. And then whilst we're waiting, let's just go and check our research. Nearly there. Excellent, okay. So, builders are off doing their thing here, which is great. Researchers doing their thing. Fuel is all looking good. How are we doing money-wise? Because we've just spent a lot of money. We're just starting to invest, so let's have a look at how we're doing. Oh, that's okay. So we're still in quite good profit. Still 60,000 profit, despite the fact that we've spent. Sorry, operational profit 62,000. So we've spent quite a bit of money. So we're down 118, but that's okay. We're actually in operating profit. So if we weren't to spend any money constructing anything, then we're good. Okay, so we can start expanding a little bit more. Brilliant. Builders are done. So let's get rid of those. So we can now start. Here we go. So the taxis are now bringing people in. We've got an extra bus coming in, so we're going to be able to start getting extra passengers in. They're not going to get eggy. Brilliant. Okay, so research. Brilliant. Let's have a look at this then. So later on we can improve our public transport even further by doing subways. There's our de-icing permit, and I think that should be our next port of call. It's the ultimate one, isn't it? It does the large ATC tower. Just trying to find the one that does the. If we've already got it. We've already got it. So we're going to need to build our new air traffic control tower, so we'll plop that down straight away. It means that we can schedule some more flights for the stands. Let's start. Go back to the research. Let's do the de-icing permit so we can start that to process. Get 5 people on there. Builders back. It's a bit to and fro, isn't it, with the builders? We should probably just leave them there. Brilliant, okay. So the later thing that we can do with the research as well, we can start to research the other facilities, so we can start getting shops and restaurants in to the terminal, so we can start making money through renting out space, and we can start selling stuff to our passengers, and that will then start to increase the ratings that the passengers will give us, and then more flights, more scheduled, and so it's bigger that way. And the reason we're focusing so much on getting money right now is because we obviously don't want to suck at the game. We want to be able to carry on for as long as possible and build a massive airport. So the early part of the game is quite important. You need to get as much money together as you can early on, so that you can then expand later. But in order for you to expand, you have to have that. You have to have that money to start with. You have to have that money in the bank. Talking of which, we're okay for general aviation up here at the moment. So I've noticed that we've got a couple of notifications of aircraft that have had to go round. So that normally means that there's something astray with it being night in the grass. So let's go ahead and spend the money to upgrade it. and add the approach lights on this runway, which means that general aviation can now land and they're not going to struggle. And we need to just check then to see whether our commercial flights are also struggling to land, because if they are, we'll do the same. I'm not going to do that just yet on the departing runway for general aviation. That's sort of like our least priority. Okay. So let's get rid of the contractors again. We don't need them. Let's check the flight planner. So our capacity has now increased from the 25 that we had originally, and we're now up to 75 a day. So we're okay, and we're still getting flights from inside the UK. And I've read things, like I said before, that suggest that this doesn't work out quite as well when you start looking at international zones. So that's something we might need to be aware of when we're building this. But that's okay. Well, bridges get there. Gonna have fun up to that point anyway. I'm glad that we've chosen the 45-minute timer. It doesn't seem like flights are particularly struggling. We're not getting notifications of delays just yet. I expect we will as we start to increase operations. So as we start to introduce things like baggage handling and everything, I think we're going to start struggling then. But we're okay for the moment. Flights are being turned around. The airlines seem to be relatively happy. I mean, Stripe love us, and the way that the airlines are designed within the game is you can't satisfy everything as easily as everybody else. So like this top one here, I can't remember the name of that airline. They're harder to please than Stripe or than Maple are. So this is one thing to consider actually when you're signing your contracts, is you might want to choose the easier ones to please first, because the more pleased they are, the more flights they'll offer you. Okay, so how are we doing with operations? So we're going good. We're nearly there with the de-icing permit, and we are in a very good place. So general aviation at the top here is still going okay. The airport isn't struggling for operations. We're still okay for vehicles and their jobs. Employees, we're still okay. Security officers. Going to need some more security officers. So let's go ahead and do that. So hire that person. That person, and we can train the staff to improve their skill level. That's something that we'll do later on as well. Excellent. Okay, so I think that's looking very good for episode 3. We're making money. It's a good sign. So we're 66,000 in profit at the moment, even though cash flow is minus. We've taken a delivery of things and we've continued to build things, but we're in a really good place. So right now we can say at the end of episode 3 we still don't suck at Airport CEO. We're just about finished with the we've done it with the de-icing permit, so that's good. So let's finish off this episode by taking on a big what we're going to do. Lead to. No, I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's do this one down the bottom here. So we're going to finish off this one by starting this program, which enables us to reduce some costs even more, and then that allows us to then open up the second strand, so we can hire some more administrators and get the research done even quicker. So thank you so much for joining me again for episode 3. We're all right. We've got an all right airport. Our terminal is still ugly. It's still pretty horrific. I mean, I've been to some other airports that are also very similar, where you sort of walk through the terminal and think, is this even finished? So we're okay. It's functional. It's making money. General aviation's making money. We've upgraded a few things. We've researched some new things, and we've got some extra bits to build for episode 4. So we'll start building de-icing pads we're going to do some extra research into the international zones, and we can start truly building our first international terminal. So thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to me waffle, and I'll see you in the next episode.